What's up, everybody? So let's get into this week's episode of Teen Mom. It's a lot to unpack. I mean, a lot. So let's start out with Jade. So it first starts out with Jade. She's adjusting to life now without Sean because if you guys looked at last week's episode, which I did not cover, Sean went to rehab. He went to a rehabilitation center in Texas. So now she's pretty much a single mom and she's in the house with Chloe. And Chloe has a toothache that she's been crying about all night. She hasn't been asleep. And Jay takes her to an emergency dentist appointment the next day on the other side of town. Now, while they were in the car, Chloe is asking about her dad. Like, am I going to go see dad at this appointment? Because I know I'm going to see the dentist or the doctor. And Jade is like, no, your dad's at the doctor's, in another state. He's kind of far away. We're not going to see him for a while. And I love the fact that Jade addressed this situation as your dad's at the doctor's. I feel like that's very, that's very good for a child to understand. So they get to the dentist and Chloe is not having it. She's scared just like any other child would be. She says she doesn't want to go to sleep. She doesn't want the dentist to work on her teeth. So it's a light segment for Jade, and we'll just have to see how this plays out. So then it switches over to Leah, who is all excited and giddy because she's going on a date with the person she quote unquote just met, which is Jalen. We all know that they've been seeing each other for months. But whatever. So she's excited about this date and she's on the phone with her friend, and her friend is like, I'm so proud of you for getting back out there and blah, blah, blah. And Leah's like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. So then, she hangs up and her sister calls and they're talking about the fact that their father recently got locked up and now decided to reach out to Leah and her sister. I guess trying to get bail money or trying to get an attorney. I don't know. But Leah's sister is on the phone with her crying, and Leah's pretty much like, why the fuck are you crying? Like, this man never calls us. Like, he was around maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years ago during my addiction and when I first got pregnant, but he left. He doesn't call me. He doesn't call you. He doesn't call to check on his grandkids or anything like that. So Leah's pretty much like, I'm not paying his bail if he wants bail money. I'm not paying for no attorney. And I'm not sad about the fact that he's locked up because, he should have abided by the rules is basically what Leah's saying. And her sister's crying and she's like, I don't have time for this. I got a date to go to. And I'm like, yes, Leah, like, let's normalize, like, cutting these toxic people off. And I understand if you want to help your dad, but the way that Leah was describing it was just like, he's not there. He only calls when you want something, and now you're in jail and you want to call. So go on your date, Leah. Let's see how this turns out. So then we switch over to Ashley, who's going through her saga with Bar about him not being motivated and blah, blah, blah. So they're separated, but living in the same house and married. Okay. So he's going to Ohio to see Shin. This episode, we'll definitely see Shin. So he goes to Ohio. He's flying on the plane with Holly. Holly is the cutest child ever, okay? And she's like, I'm going to have the best day ever. I'm going to see Nana. It's so cute because she's so cute. So after Bar leaves, Ashley really doesn't give him much of anything except, okay, have a good time. Bye-bye. After they leave, she meets up with Mama T. I want to say Pastor T, but that's not her name no more. Mama T, which is her mama. They meet up at some restaurant. They look fabulous, by the way. The looks on this season, killing it. So they look good, whatever. So they meet up or whatever, and they're talking about the status between her and Bar, and she's like, we're not together. Ashley says, we're not together, but we paid this rent a year in advance. They live in California and they paid rent a year in advance. Can you imagine how high that was? Like, are you serious? So she says, I can't kick him out or whatever. We both paid rent. We both put our money in on this. So we're separated, just living in the same house. And her mom is like, so what makes this time any different from the other times that you guys broke up and were separated and did whatever y'all did? And she's just like, I don't know. Besides the fact that we're married now and I feel like maybe we have to figure it out. And T is just like, girl, I never liked Bar. I never liked you with Bar. Just divorce his ass. Which we all know that Ashley isn't going to, because one of the things that she communicated here was that she's very comfortable with Bar. Like, it's not easy to break up with somebody that you've been with for 5+ years and try to get back on the dating scene and blase. Bar's comfortable. He is. And I understand what she means when you've been in a relationship for so long. Let's see how this works out. So then we head over to Briana, and the scene that's been killing social media and everybody else all week is her and Chris Lopez, which is Kale's baby daddy, meeting up because Kale refused to film with him or refused to have him on one of her segments. So Briana was the only other option left, I guess, for Teen Mom to get Chris onto the structure. I don't know. But anyway, so she meets up with Chris Lopez. If you guys remember last week, she was talking about meeting up with him with her sister. So this week she actually does meet up with him, and she's with Shirley. So it's like Shirley and Brad, and then her and Chris on like this weird ass double date. I wouldn't call it a date, but like, let's be honest, like it's two of them, two girls, two boys, like whatever. So they meet up, they have this weird introduction, and she's like, yeah, tell me about the podcast. Even though we all know she really doesn't care about the podcast. She's doing this to be spiteful. But hey, Kale did it to be spiteful with Devon, so let's just be honest. So they sit down, they briefly discuss Kale, and Brianna's like, I'm going to steer clear of her because, you know, we're in a lawsuit. And Chris is like, yeah, I've been fighting with her for 4 years, you know, paying lawyers for no reason. You know, she won't let me see my kids. I see them every other weekend or something like that. And Brianna's like, why? Because she doesn't deem you like grown up enough to have your kids longer. And he's like, I don't know. So they have that little discussion. It really wasn't anything. And then they went to this rage room, which I feel like they didn't have enough conversation about the podcast or why she was really there. They just had more free time to act a fool and go drinking and rage room and blase. And it's just like, Briana, why are you really there? So in the next scene, Jade is leaving the dentist office with Chloe, and the dentist couldn't really get anything done because according to Jade, Chloe had a nerve exposed and she wasn't going to let the dentist do much of anything to her. They tried numbing her, but nothing really worked. And the dentist was saying, you know, if we have to hold her down, it's going to be terrible because she's going to be terrified of dentists for the rest of her life because they would have to hold her down and like stick her in her gums and stuff like that. So Jade decides to leave, and they have an appointment the next day in another town to try to get something done with this tooth. And Jade calls her mom and tells her mom all of this and says, you know, do you want to come with me to this appointment? And Jade's mom is like, yes. So they're trying to rekindle their relationship while Jade is still letting her have a part in Chloe's life. So we'll see how this works out. You know, I'm excited, that Jade is even talking to her mom. So we'll see. So Leah goes on her date with Jalen, this brunch. And I kid you not, they have the same conversation they had at the cookout with, do you have kids? What do you do for a living? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. I think that MTV did not do their homework with this, or they didn't go back and check if maybe we had these people rehearsing the same lines over and over again. Because like I told you guys, she's known Jalen for a while now, and all of this was pretty much a setup or rehearsed, and MTV paid for it to seem like a storyline. But it's fine, whatever. I feel like Jalen is a very accomplished young man, and Leah is lucky to have him as well as he's lucky to have Leah because she's been on Teen Mom for so many years and she has money. Okay? And it's about time that your kids look up to somebody with an education and that's been outside of West Virginia and stuff like that. So I like this for her. I do. I just feel like MTV, you scripted this bullshit meetup or whatever. Just have them be organic, and I feel like maybe Leah kind of rushed putting him on TV. Maybe he asked to be on TV. I don't know the situation. I know that she doesn't have much going on. So maybe she threw him onto the TV. We don't know. All I know is, whatever. This shit is fake. Anyway. So heading back over to Ashley's segment, Bar is in Ohio with Holly. Now, if you guys have been following my blog, my page, or my YouTube channel for any amount of time, you would know that Bar and his mom, Shin, have been estranged for like maybe a year, maybe 2 years. So this reunion was very heartfelt when they hugged. You could feel that shit because it was estranged. Like everybody was beefing. The whole family was beefing. Bar and Ashley against Shin and I think Shin's daughter even. And Pastor T, aka Ashley's mom, they were going back and forth so bad on social media. Like it was crazy. They used to use our pages, the fan pages or whatever, to get their message through because they were blocked, but they wanted to still talk shit. It's crazy. So to see Bar back with his mom is, very heartfelt to me because, I took this beef kind of like personal, whatever. So he's in Ohio with his mom. He's saying he doesn't want to do this shit for the camera. I don't know if it was making up or just talking about the situation with him and Ashley, but he did not want to do it for the camera. But off camera, he says, that he's tired of being a burden in everybody's life. That's just how he feels. His relationship is going very south right now, and he's married. So it seems like it's taken a lot on Bar to be going through this with Ashley. So the next day he comes and they have another scene, just him and his mom. And I think Yaz, which is, I think his sister. Yeah, Yaz is his little sister, comes out and basically Shin has let her guard down and she's basically saying, Ashley has been there for you no matter what, through thick and thin, when you were at your lowest. And you got to make it work for her because honestly, guys, if you do have somebody that's willing to pick you up at your lowest, keep them. Point blank. Keep them. So then it switches back over to Briana, who is upset because her boyfriend is upset because she's gallivanting all around town, not even town, out of state, with somebody that she doesn't even know, and is checking in and she's telling him everything that she's doing, the rage room and blah, blah, blah. But Javi number 2 is still upset because, like, you're my girlfriend and you're basically out with another dude. And you didn't tell me that you were going to be going to the rage room and blah, blah, blah. I just thought that you were going to be doing the podcast. So now he feels stupid that he didn't go and Shirley went. But Briana refused to take him. She wanted to take Shirley because she said that she was going to have more fun with Shirley. It's just a hot mess. So the next scene with Jade really isn't much. She's just sitting down to talk to her friend Chow about Sean being gone. And she basically says that, it's no different because I do everything for Chloe as is. She talks about the dentist appointment and how much, like, her child was in pain and it hurt her. But she says that she would have been doing that by herself anyway. But she explains that Chloe is definitely missing her dad because she always says, like, it's 3 of us. It used to be 3 of us. Now what? And blase, blase. But she's going to be, woman enough and handle it. She's also talking about her mom. I feel like she says that, she's giving grace with her mom and it's going to take baby steps. So we'll just see. So heading back over to Leah, she's still high from her date with Jalen. So she meets with her sister and her sister's like, I didn't mean to ruin your date, but by any chance, did you bring it up, the fact that our dad is in jail? And Leah's like, no, I did not talk to my date, Jalen, about the fact that our father is in jail. But you know what? I'm not going to talk to him about that anyway. It's none of his business, but I don't care that our dad is in jail. So Leah's sister is like, I wasn't trying to ruin your date. I was just saying. And Leah's like, okay, he's in jail. Now what? Like, he wasn't the best influence on me when he was around. And then Leah expressed that they used to use drugs together and everything like that. So Leah's pretty much fed up. She's done with it. She says she's not paying for anything. So we'll see if Leah's dad gets out of jail or what happens with this whole situation. So switching back over to Bar and Ashley. Ashley is still in California and Bar is still in Ohio visiting his mom, Shin. So Ashley calls real quick, gets off the phone real quick, really doesn't say much to Bar. Then it switches over to Shin and Bar in the kitchen talking about his upcoming court cases and how he's facing, a minimum of 3 years if found guilty for firing that gun at Ashley's party. And, that wasn't the best decision for him to make, but he made it and he has to live with the consequences. And Shin is just like, yeah, you need to get your life together. And he's like, yeah, I'm tired of going through this. I'm tired of going to court. I'm tired of this, that, and the third. Looks like Bar really wants to change his life and it's not too late. So Ashley is just saying how she's so tired of it and she doesn't know if she's going to continue this relationship with Bar because she feels like she's putting her all into the marriage and it's not 50-50 and, she has to drag Bar to do right and so, and that when he gets home, they're going to have another talk and figure out what they're going to do from there. So switching over to Jade, she takes her daughter Chloe to yet another dentist appointment where they assess her and figure out that she needs to have one of her teeth extracted. Now, she has her parents with her in the car this time for moral support, but she starts fussing at them almost immediately. She starts fussing at her mom because her mom like accidentally spilled something. Her dad's really in the backseat, doesn't say much, but her and her mom definitely have some type of weird tension. So they finally get to the dentist, and then they get back. Like I said, that Chloe's going to have surgery, eating too much candy, regular kid shit. So her mom was like, you know what, you can just drop me off right here at bingo. And Jade's like, well, damn, do you have to gamble every day? So this is another disagreement. And Jade's mom is just like, look, if you don't want to drop me off, you ain't got to, I'll come back up here myself. So that's that. Really not much except Jade still fussing out her mama. So the last scene is Brianna and Chris in this highly anticipated podcast episode where she comes downstairs where they have the podcast set up, and he immediately starts, what's up, everybody? This is PTSD podcast, blah, 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 mumbling per Chris Lopez usual. And I swear he asked her like 2 questions, and then that was it. And they got up and took some photos up against the wall, and she went back home that same day in these same clothes. And I was just like, so this is what we waited like all season to see? Like, he asked her literally 2 questions. But I'm pretty sure the actual episode when it comes out will be further detailed. It's just that I didn't really see anything too messy this episode between them. They actually seem to have pretty good chemistry, I must say so myself. And since Kale won't film with him, he got to get it how he live, I guess. They're supposed to be going to Miami. I don't know if MTV filmed that either, but we shall see. So fans pointed out the fact that Brianna and Chris were very messy because she had on his shirt like a day later when she got home. And it was like, how did you get his shirt if you didn't rip it off his body when y'all had sex? I'm just saying, allegedly, okay? I don't know. It's been a whole bunch of stuff going on in the tabloids lately about Brie and Chris. We're just going to have to let everything play out because Kale up and down swears that Brie and Chris had sex. But you just can't come out and say stuff like that, okay? That's just an allegation. Anyway, what did y'all think of the actual episode?